Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of our neutron star creation. In this particular part, we'll continue on from expanding on the material and adding all the necessary parts to make the neutron star actually come alive. Like basically putting the power of nuclear fusion or whatever you want to call it inside of it to make it blow up. But yeah, I'm going. This is where we are on the roadmap, so you can see this on the screen right now. This is where we are. This is how much we've got left to do. There's still quite a bit of setup to be done, but hopefully we'll be able to get through all of this in part 2, and then you'll have a working star for your projects. So this is the local align texture from Epic. Now we don't want to modify this; we want to make a new version of it. So control space, right click, and then we are going to find our materials and just create a new material function. I'm gonna call it MF. And we're just gonna call it local align texture 01, as we're going to create a different version of this as well. Now let's copy all of this and open this new texture, paste all of this stuff in here. We can delete this output. Well, sorry, the output result cannot be deleted, unfortunately. That is so unfortunate. Okay, let's just leave it there for now. We can close this. I think this is because this was set up as the output, but it's fine. We can close this as we copied everything that we needed, and back into our output result over here. What we want to do is these, we need the X, Y, and Z basically. So I'm just going to delete all of these. Yeah, and I can delete all of this, and this is going to become my output result. So we can you can just go into preview mode if you want, but this is going to be it, right? Okay, so this lerp, we don't actually need it. Let me just cut that wire there. We can move all of these segments further back, and it's time to add a max node that we can connect into our output. And we then want to bring in 2 multiplies in here, and each connecting to A and B. We want a 1 minus connecting to the B value over here, which is great. And okay, let's just bring these further away, even more. We've got these 2 cheap contrasts, which is fine. We can use that. All of this stuff in here, sort of all of it. We can keep most of it. We can delete these points, but we've got these 2 masks, which is fine, the R and B. For the cheap contrast, we want to bring in an input. So input function, let me just have a look. We want an input function, and we put this to function input scalar, I don't know, whatever, right? We're just gonna call this input projection, something like that. We do need to give it some value, so we're gonna put 1001, use preview value as default. Yeah, that's fine. So function input scalar, I think, yeah, that's what we need. So yeah, like that, and then we can put this to the contrast over here. Just delete this value. So we'll leave it like that, and we then want to bring in a multiply, and this multiply connected into both the masks, both these masks. We want to bring an object scale and the X, Y, and Z to the B value. Want to bring in a transform position, and this is in world space to local space. So absolute world space to local space, put that into the A value, and then bring in a pixel normal world space, put it in there. With that done, with the cheap contrasts sorted, we want this mask twice, connect the result, so we're just masking the R value, and then this particular one connects into our 1 minus, and let's just add a point in here, and this point connects into the B value like that. Okay, this mask will need it over here. Now we don't need these two lerps. We do need these sort of parts over here. We want to bring in some... Ooh, what was that? That was WhatsApp. Better close that off. Right, so we've got the append. We need this 3 times. Want to bring in a switch. Where is this switch? Yeah, a static switch. And then for the static switch, we can connect the RGB color of this into the false, but then this into the true. The same value over here into the A, and then the alpha into the B. Something like that. Okay, and let's just bring this, you know, create another 2. Let's bring in a static boolean in here, keep it as false, and then a function input, which we can then change to function input vector 4, but we connect the boolean to it. Boolean is not compatible with floats. So, wait 1 second. I think I've added the wrong one, so let me just have a look. Input. Oh yeah, that should be it. Yeah. What am I doing wrong? Function input. We need an export float 4. Okay. So input. So we'll just put it like that. Yeah, static boolean, and then just make sure we've got the preview. Yeah, let's just try it this way. I think it will work. So want to put this value. Let me just add another point here. So we want to connect this to all of these, like that. These appends just needs to be done in the same way that we did the other one. So this is going into the true, false, alpha in here. This goes to the true. See, that way. Just make sure you do them in this particular order. So again, this goes into false. A, alpha goes into the B. So something like that. We should be okay. Let's add another multiply node over here. Put this like that. And this mask, we can connect this mask, but first want to get this 1 minus multiply, bring it over here. We can add a max node and connect the multiply. God, I've got a thing with the letter S, haven't I? Whenever I say it, it's just the microphone probably creaks. Seriously, I need to stop using the letter S. Right, so this multiply goes into 1 minus, and we've got this multiply over here. We can put this switch over into it. Just gonna add another point here that we can connect with this multiply. So it's from this mask over here. And this switch we can connect over into the A like that. Okay, and the max node can go into the A over here. Let me just save the material and all that. I don't want to crash. God, I hate crashes, you know. Everybody probably hates crashes. Now, all of these, we can keep the texture object, that's fine. This input texture object 2D, that's fine to go in there, but we need to change these texture coordinates. So I need a mask again. Just gonna copy, paste the mask. I need it 3 times, and each of these masks connects into the UVs. Now we've got to make sure that we're masking the right one. So for the first one, we'll just do a green blue. Second one, we'll do a red blue, and then third one, we'll do a red green. Okay. Now function input over here, and we want to change this to vector 3. I'm putting into the mask. Now add a divide here. Actually, the divide goes into the mask. The input goes into A from the divide. Add in a multiply here that we can connect into our B value, and it's a -1 value. Add in the ABS. ABS. ABS? I don't know. Okay. Input. Texture size. So this is a texture vector of 3. That's fine. We'll put into the ABS in there. But then when we click it, I want to make this into a white. So I think it's 74. Let's just try like that. Yeah, this looks about right. Add in a multiply over into this preview. Put in another object scale X, Y, and Z into the B value. We want this transform again. So the same one that we added previously, and we'll put that into the A value. Something like that. Okay, maybe, I don't know if I need to do... No, this one is already using the static boolean, and it's false. Okay, I think we've got it. Yeah, okay, I think we've got it. So let me just apply and save this. And what we can do, we can go back into our Neutron Star. Let's delete this and bring our actual local align. So we can bring it over here. Now, if we have a look, the way to set this up, we've got the masks and we need a multiply. We can multiply by 1, that's fine, but connect it to every mask in here. And then we'll put the XYZ texture into the A value. And we can feed it a texture. Now, this is where these two, this sort of object, this, well, these inputs that we created, it would have been better to name them properly. So, and this is, you know, this would be important if you want to know what you are inputting. So, you know, input. So let me just have a look. This will be a projection, contrast. This one will be a texture object, but this should already look fine. I'm not really understanding why this is wrong. This is not showing properly. This is the coordinate. Let's just apply and see if that made any sort of changes. Yeah, see, it's just bothered about this in here. I don't really understand why it's reading it this way. But this is where we were putting the texture in. So one of them is coordinate, but the next one is this is where, well, actually, no, this is the texture object. So we can probably, yeah, we can probably just put it there really. Okay, so texture sample, convert it to a texture object, and we can link that in there. We obviously need a texture in here. And I am going to find the texture and I'm going to show you. So I've got quite a few textures in here for the project, but the particular texture that we're looking for is these cracks. Now you may want these to be, let me just dock in layout actually, and we can see it. You may want to get another texture, another crack texture, maybe with RGB in them, but I can use a black and white, that's fine. Let me just put those cracks over there. Okay, now we've got a different error. We need some coordinates, and this in value is the that will be like the texture size. Let me just have a look. Contrast. A bit. So we've got the coordinates. Very interesting. Right, but either way, we should be able to work it out from here what we need. We've got the coordinates, and then this value, this in value will be our, that will be our texture size. So in that, basically, you do a parameter. So you just say, you just rename this to cracks size, because we already have the intensity. And you'll see if we put that into this in value in here and give it a random value of 2, let's say, then that should already be fine. So we've got the texture object, we've got the size, and we need another one for our, thing for our coordinates. Now we can copy these two and paste them over here. We can connect the same size into our in, like that. We want a multiply node over here, multiply of 1, connect this into our A value, and then this node connects over into this add node over here. And we still don't have anything for this mask as of yet. But yeah, the coordinates will be fed from the same point, so we'll use the same coordinate. I'm just going to add an add node over here and put it into the coordinate. And as you can see, it's no longer an error. This is called UVs and this is coordinate. Honestly, I don't know why are these things different. Like, anyway, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, we've got the add. Let's bring a multiply, connect it into the B value, and we're going to create the distortions of our cracks. So convert the parameter cracks distortion, and we want to give it a value of 1, maybe. Just make sure you save the material. Never forget to save the material. Okay, we need to connect something into this add. This multiply will connect something else to it. We'll connect the same sort of the same node that goes into this mask over here. But in this add node, so this is going to be our star, the cracks. Pretty much, we're going to finish the cracks now. Let me just put that over into the add value. We want to set up what's the amount. So let me just copy this. Into the B value, but rename it to cracks amount. We need another multiply that goes into the A value. And then let's just take the object scale, XYZ, put into the B value. And we then want a world, not position, sorry, transform position. And I want to do world space to local space again. And pixel normal. So that's great. That's looking great. I do wonder if I just put a random, if I just do a random connection into this mask over here and I press apply, what will happen? Oh no, shit! We're still getting an error. So I still got an error somewhere else, guys. Yeah, because if I connect this over here, where is the other mask that's in error? Oh, it's these two, right? Okay, so that's fine. Let's just continue and let's save the material. So all of this stuff in here, these are the star cracks. Okay, these are meant to crack our planet, basically. And now we're moving to flares, and for flares we need a lerp. And this lerp actually connects into this lerp. And now we want to bring in a saturate, and this one goes into the alpha. We don't have anything for these two masks as of yet. These will be connected from another node further down the line. Let's just bring in a multiply node, and this connects into the B value. Now we want to set the brightness. The brightness is always over these nodes. These sort of setups goes at the front of everything. So convert the parameter, and we'll call it flare brightness. Give it a value with quite a high value, you know, maybe like 1000 or something. We need another multiply down here connected into the saturate node. And then this power times 4 connected into the B value. Bring another saturate, put it into the multiply. And we need a component mask that's masking, well, that's only for the green channel. Put that into the base. Okay. Put an add node in here that goes into the saturate. And this is, well, this is where we want to put, let's just put an add node. And then we want to bring in noise. So it's a simple noise based, texture based. Put the add node into position. The filter, the width of it. So you've got a 6 minus output minimum and output maximum. So do a -5 and do an output max of 0, and we'll see what that sort of gives us. Make sure you don't have any turbulence in it, just leave it as what it is, and then leave it as texture based, simple texture based. And put a parameter over in here, flare coverage, and give it a value of 1, let's say for now. Into this add node, we can add another multiply. And then we can copy this multiply, put into the A value, and we'll bring the nodes from here, these 3 nodes, connect them into the multiply node like that. This multiply node connects somewhere else, so we just leave it at multiply by 1, but don't connect it to anything for now. Okay, and that will be the setup for the flares. So just gonna call it flares. Okay. Okay, now the next bit here, we've got we're going to create a few texture distortions. So we want to create about 2 to 3 texture distortions, and then a micro cell, and then 2 macro cells. So this will just give us a lot more variation on our our neutron star, or whatever, whichever star you want to do. So we can start with the texture distortion actually, and we will need a new version of this local align texture as well. So if I go back into where I have this material, I can duplicate it, and yeah, 0, 2. So I'll need to create a new version of this. Let me just bring it in. So we do have these, so what we need to basically do here is we need to use the old setup from the local align texture. So I'm just going to double click it. You see I've got this again in here. Actually, yeah, I should be able to just get away with few minor modifications. I'm just going to copy all of this and go into this. Is this number 2? Yeah, this is number 2. I'm just going to delete pretty much everything and just add these in. Let's just make a few adjustments. So in the cheap contrast, I can go into this, copy this this part and add it into the contrast. I need these masks, so I can go. So I can close the local align from Epic. In my original texture that I've created, I can copy this setup from here and delete Epic's setup. Paste it, put the multiplies into these masks. Okay. So we've got that. Now we want the same setup that we did over here. All of these switches, yeah, and want to delete all of these elements and bring these in. It's just how we connect them. So the first switch goes into the B value. First switch goes into the A value. This switch goes into the B value. But it also goes into this output for the Z axis. And we don't have anything for the values. Let me just, oh yeah, I forgot about the Boolean, and we can do that. So we can copy the static Boolean, put that in there for these values. Let's just see what we're getting. I'm pretty sure that the so let me just preview this and see if it's fine, if it's working okay. There's nothing showing up, meaning that I must have some form of error somewhere. I've got the two cheap contrasts here. Oh, just realized something. I don't actually have the masks. So let me just bring these two masks. And if you remember, here we have these two masks ahead. So let's connect. And this mask goes into this alpha. Let me just apply, so those two masks would need to be there as well. But still, oh, missing transform position input vector. World space to, yeah, I'm sure this is fine. Where's the, oh, where's my pixel? There we go. Now it's okay. Okay, right, so we now have a new material function, which has the same sort of problems as the other one. Can't get away from that. Okay, but we're doing the first texture distortion right now. So that means that I can put this over here somewhere. And I want to give it a... So what was the texture size? That was the in. Okay. So a value of 1. And I can put this into the in value over there. Okay. Now we need a texture. This is a texture object. So let me just bring a texture, not parameter. Why do I do this? Texture. I don't know. Oh, right, texture object. There it is, texture object. Right, okay, and I can put that into my texture object. Okay, bring in an add node like that and connect it over into my coordinates. bring in a multiply, and the multiply goes into the B value over here. Let me just bring this texture object further away because I need it for something else as well. Copy the multiply, connect it into the add node, bring a divide, and we want to do a divide by 5, put it into the multiply node, and we're going to call this distortion. We're working backwards. Sorry, create a new parameter. So call it distortion 3. Get a value of 1. Put this into the A value and distort it by 5. Divided by 5. Now we want to add a new parameter. Call this dark flame amount. Create a new copy of this multiply and also a copy of this add that we can link into the multiply. Copy this parameter, actually give it a value of, let's say, 0.5, but then rename this to dark flame position, and we'll put that into the B value over here. Or no, actually, I'll put this into the add value, delete this multiply, this add goes into the A value, like that. Add another multiply to the A value, and we want to bring this setup connected like that, and that should be it, I think. Yeah, that should be it for texture distortion number 3. I'm just gonna comment distortion 3. That's what it is. Okay, so funny thing about distortion number 2 is that there's a lot of commonalities, so I can actually copy this whole thing. Wait 1 second, let me just copy paste. I want to move it. I want to be okay, it's fine. So this is distortion 2. What I want to do is I want to use the same texture. Whoa. Come on. For both. See? Same texture, both functions. There's no point having multiple. And yeah, that's fine with the one in the texture size. And then this add over here. We don't need this. We need a multiply. So this multiply goes into a new one, and this parameter is going to be called distortion 2, like that. This is going to be the multiply by 0.5, but we'll leave it like that for now. There's nothing for us to connect it to. We can obviously bring some of these points further away, like that. Okay, now we want to create the texture distortion number 2. So, number 1. So copy paste. This is what I hate about these copy pastes, because if you're not careful where you're copying, see this, for example, got moved. So copy paste. Just gonna move it up here, and I'm gonna call this distortion number 1. Okay, with distortion number 1, this will, we need to set up these in such a way. Sorry, I just moved that by mistake. sometimes some of these nodes just move around and you don't want that. So I need to do a micro cell setup over in here, because otherwise I don't really have anything to connect this. But the texture, the distortion, the texture distortion 1, we don't need these parameters. We do need these though. And this particular parameter we can edit, maybe give it a value of something like 70, and we'll call it macro cell amount. We've got this multiply over here, and let's copy paste this parameter, put it into the B value over here. And now we can call it macro cell distortion. Okay. This add node, well, actually all of these things we can now duplicate this add node and connect it like that. Now I want to do a copy of the multiply node and put into our B value. We can say this macro cell distortion, give it something like a 3, and this is going to be our first one. That's 0, 1. I'm going to do a copy of it and connect it into our B value, and we're going to call this 0, 2. We need a power node over here that goes into the A value with the value of 2, so we'll keep it like that, but we don't have anywhere to connect it as of yet. Okay, let me just have a look. This local align texture, we can take the XYZ and put it over into this multiply. Yeah, okay, let me just save. Gotta make sure that we save this. And once that's done, because we're running everything through this one now, I can sort of, I want to basically connect the X, Y, and Z of this all the way to this power over here. But you see how wrong that looks like. So I'm just going to do something like this. You see? So then we just make this sort of logic flow a bit better. Something like that. Okay. There's more. This node connects to more than just that texture. But we haven't yet finished our setup. So let me just save. And I'll just continue on. Let me just go forward. Okay, the micro cell setup. We need a lerp. I'm sure I can find a lerp somewhere. God, I can't. Interpolate linear. No, not inverse. Interpolate in linear. Yeah, that's the one. So I just want a linear interpolate. This will connect to our flares, and we want this to go into this multiply node over here, but we also want it to go into that lerp. There we go. Okay, and I can get this saturate node, bring it over, and as per usual, put into the alpha. Now, this particular saturates, another lerp with the saturate itself, should connect over into a multiply node over here in the A value. So if we go all the way back like that, that's where it needs to connect. And we can sort of fix the points by doing something like this. Okay, so that's the saturate there resolved. Well, sort of. What we want to do now Actually, no, I think I've got it in the wrong one. No. No. It was this saturate from these flares that needed to go over into this multiply. Yeah, like that. And this lerp that we have over here connects, like I said to you, to that multiply and that lerp over there. And then we get a multiply. We put into the B value. We don't have anything for the alpha as of yet. Put a parameter in here. Small cells brightness. Okay. Do another copy of this lerp and put it into the A value. And we need 2 copies of multiplication. One of them multiplying by 1 goes into the A value over here, and this one goes into the B value. Now we want to add a max that goes into the B value. Copy this parameter. Oh, make sure that the brightness of this parameter is 200, and then this particular parameter, well, first of all, rename it. So brightness intensity, and give it a value of 12, put it into the max, and make sure the max is set to 0. So like that, basically. Now we want a saturate node that connects into the A value of this multiply and then to the A value of this multiply. Add in a divide, put it into the saturate node, bring an add node that goes into the A value of the divide, nothing into the B value. We are extending a bit too much here, so let's just go a bit further, okay. Now, new parameter, large cells elevation. Can put this over into the B value. Add a multiply over here connected into the A value. Change the value on, well, leave it to 0 or to 1. No, leave it to 0 for now. Just make a new copy of it and rename it to large cells brightness. Connect that into the B value. And we want to add a new noise here, connected into the A value. But then this one will just change it over to a gradient texture base. And this links into our texture distortion number 1. So I can put this maybe something like this, okay. And this add goes into the position. This will put it at levels of about 8. So those are quality levels basically, and 0, 1, 2. Yeah, that should be fine with no turbulence. Okay, and I would say that this is like the micro cell setup that we've done here. We do have these 2 alphas that we need to connect them to something. So let's just bring in 2 power nodes, put them in here, connect them both in, well, each of them into an alpha. New parameter here, we're gonna call it brightness thickness. So it's just how when the brightness becomes so bright that basically it starts to encroach in the whole plateau. And we can set this as a value of 3. Bring in a mask. Sorry, not that. I need to bring in a component mask. And for this particular one, we're masking for the R channel connected into the base. Copy paste, and this is gonna be R again into the base. Okay. And these two masks will go into our cells that we're creating above. So this entire thing, we're going to comment it micro cell setup. Okay, wow. This is a lot. We've done a lot here. Like seriously a lot. We've got to connect some nodes. We still have quite a few nodes left to connect. Actually, I'm looking at these two masks. I believe I can connect them now. Yeah. So those two masks can connect to this one. So if I take this point and find the two masks, wherever the hell they are, there they are. So that's one. Let me just bring a point down here. But we need both of them to be connected, so we can add another point over here and connect them. Okay, so both the masks are now connected, those two specifically. Control S, save it, always save, never forget to save. Okay, and then there's this multiply over here that we can connect to the same point, and then this mask to the same point. And that should give us a bit more, you know, a few more of these nodes are resolved. Now this particular one over here, this connects into another point as well. Well, actually in 2 points. So it connects over into this multiply here, and then all the way into this mask over here. So we can actually go, we can take that and put it in. I'm gonna add a new point here, bring it down, and just gonna add a new point over here and connect it, and that should be okay as well. Now we want the distortion, a sort of a 3D distortion to be added, and you know, I've got all of these done. The distortion shouldn't be that difficult to do, but let's start off with adding this point. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so we've got the add over here, and this add goes into this multiply, and then it goes down here into this multiply. Quite straightforward. We can duplicate the add to put it in the A slot. And now we want to make a sort of a setup, so we need to bring in a multiply and a component mask, and then this goes into the B node. The component mask goes into the A node. We want a free sort of color setup, but let me just first make sure this is set up to B. So a color of pure blue. Is that what you call it? Pure blue? I think actually if we do a 0.001, that will be obviously blue, and this will go into B. This is where we need our texture align. Sorry, not the first one, but the second one. So XYZ into the mask. So we need to add another texture object in here. Texture object, and you can just put this into the texture object here like that, but we need to put another texture in here. So let me just bring in a content browser. So I'm just gonna go into my folder where I've got textures, and the texture that I want is this, well, I've got a few noise textures in here, but I want this one. Now, this particular noise texture, you know, if you go on Google and just type in Rgb Noise Texture, I think it was, yeah, you can see, you'll find quite a few. So this is where I've got it from, basically. It's not a very, it's like a like a 1024 by 1024 texture. So you put that in there, and this sort of sets up. We want to copy another 2 times. So that's 1, 2, and then a 3rd time. And you want to make sure that your texture. God, I don't understand why these sort of names change all the time. It's very weird. Okay, but then, I mean, they're all, one of them is a blue one. So I would say the center one is blue. Let's just leave it at blue. Then you want to mask the R channel here. So then in this particular case, you're going to do 1, 0, 0. So that makes it red. And then this one masks the green. So in this particular case, 0 and 0, 1, 0 to make it green, like that. Okay. We need a texture, we need a coordinate, so it's just a number 1 going into all the coordinates. It's either UV or coordinate. Honestly, I don't know why this is named this way. I'm pretty sure it's because of how I set up the material, but there you go. That you've got 1, 1, 1 in all of them, which is what we wanted. But now we've got to create our so this value, this in value, which is the texture scale, something like that, right? Sorry, no, not the coordinate. That's the texture. Done it wrong. This needs to go into the in value. And the coordinates is what we're going to create now. I wonder though, did I do the same thing here? No, this is in, that's fine. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so I've done the other is okay. Okay, so we just need to create a coordinate, and for that we can do an well, actually, what we can do is we can take this setup. So this multiply with just these three, yeah, just these. So we can paste this over here, put an add node, connect the multiply, want to then do another multiply over here and another one at the back of it, connecting the two of them. And this is where, well, this is what's causing the distortion to work based on time. So because this is a distortion for green, we've got to bring a green channel over like that. So this just distorts the green channel, and you put that in there, right? Okay, so as you can now imagine, we're gonna copy this. So this one connects obviously into the UV, yeah. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this again. This time we're going to do it for the blue channel. So this goes into the coordinate, and then we're going to copy this. So this is for the red channel. So this goes into these UVs over here. So we're basically separating the noise into its 3 colors, RGB, and we are animating them. This is why I've said to you, for the texture over here, you may want to use an RGB crack, but the gray one has worked as well. So I'm just going to make sure that this is also changed to this noise texture over here into the distortion too. Okay, now we've got that done, but there is no, I mean, we're going to have a value which we're going to call the turbulence value. So we want to put a new parameter, call it turbulence. Why is it not renaming it? So turbulence. Okay, and a default value of 0.1 should be fine. And the turbulence itself connects over into, one second, into this multiply. So we want each of, you know, the same sort of turbulence connects to all of these. So this is the node for the actual distortion over time. So we're just gonna call it distortion over time. Okay, so that's how this works. That's what causes this. But I'm looking here at the front. We haven't connected these nodes, so we've got the multiply. 1 second. We've got this multiply needs to go into this add node, and this multiply needs to go into this add node, and this final multiply needs to go into that one. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so they're now sort of linked. You're basically adding all of them into the whole node setup. If I preview this, should be able to see that that's the movement over there, right? Okay, let's just stop previewing and apply. We still have errors in our material, but that's okay. That's to be expected. Okay, and now the final sort of piece of the puzzle, which are the cells. The cells aren't complicated to make. We actually have quite a bit of the sort of the setup done. What we need is we need to take all of this. So let me just have a look. There's no max. Yeah, all of these. So this is the top one. This is the green one. We do need a new texture object, but that's fine. You know what? I'm going to delete these. And I'm going to copy all of this, because there's no point not to. This turbulence, I'm going to convert it into constant, and I'm going to put it at a 0.1, so it's the same as the other one, but it's not changeable in any particular way. We do need a texture object to... Oh man, I didn't copy these elements. Seriously now, let me just copy it again. So I need pretty much everything from here, you know, just the way it was, like that. But then this texture, I do have another texture in here, which is something, again, you know, something you can get off the internet. It's just a wall that I've done, and I've just used Photoshop to make a contrast on it. You know, particularly very easy to get something like this. So I put that texture in there, and I need to add a min node over here, and then another min over here. Get the X, Y, and Z textures into the A, B, min to A, X, Y, Z, like that. And then this one connects into this mask, like that. Convert this to constant, 0.1, that's fine. We need this to be changed to a parameter. We're gonna call it brightness, zone brightness intensity. And let's give it a value of 5 or something like that. Okay. Now what we want is we can copy, so actually we can select all of these and make them into cell 2. But then we can copy them again over up here. Call them cell 1. Cell 1, the texture over here, sorry, we can use, where's my content browser? I close it. There we go. So we want to, we can use the same texture as we used before. But then for the texture sort of size, this particular, you know, this one that goes into each of them, we need another 2. So this goes in here and this goes in here. In terms of sizes, you know, just go while with it, test out numbers. I'm sure I'm not gonna get it right from the first time. You might not either, so you're just gonna have to experiment. Okay, something like that. Everything else seems to be in order. We want to add a new add in here. Yeah, a new one in here as well. And a new one in here as well. Okay, and all of these have the same min. Oh, sorry. Same min, bring them in. Same min, bring them in. Right, okay. Just expand this a little bit. We're so close, guys, to the end now. So XYZ over in here, XYZ in here. Wait, that wasn't good. I need this X, Y, and Z. And this one. Something like that. Okay. And this goes all the way down here into the other mask. Actually, we no longer have an error in our material. I'm just saving. Okay, this is what we're getting so far. Not looking very good, does it? Okay, because what happens is we still have some nodes that aren't yet connected. And what I need at cells 1 over here, I need to create another node, which is just a multiply node with a parameter. So we're going to call this small cell distortion. Okay, and this is going to go into each of these adds that we've made earlier. Like that. But then we've got to give this a value. So let's just say a value of 0.3 or something like that, and just apply it. But we do need to connect it. So the connection, let me just have a look. We want to copy this as well and bring it down here. I think yeah, I needed to add an add for each of these. Yeah, like that. So just gotta fix this very quickly. Yeah. And then we're gonna call this bright zone distortion, and we're gonna give it a different value, maybe a 0.2. Don't want to have the same value, and apply. Okay, let's just save the material. So all of these connect into the same material that we've connected the power. So we want to now go over, put this into this multiply, but then just add a new point. Like that. And then this goes all the way over here as well. Yeah, like that. Okay, so we've got all of these connected. Let me just have a look. This should be powered of 8. And this power needs to connect pretty far away into this multiplier over here. So let me just take it. So now over under the microcell setup, if you have a look over here, we haven't actually connected this slurp, so we just need to do that over there as well. Now we're still not getting any good effect, and I've realized that I've used the wrong transform. It should have been transform vector, not position. So if I bring in transform, not transform position, and I delete it, just make sure that this is set up to transform world space. So that's world space to local space, and then connect it. I'm just going to copy this particular one and going to go everywhere where I've sort of messed it up, which will be quite a few places. So we need to change it everywhere where that will show up. So for example here, and it's also in the material functions, because I've literally used the wrong transform, and this is what's mainly causing our issues. You can see as I put the right sort of setups, what you'll notice is that it's actually starting to look as it should. So just quickly putting all of these in. As I said, I'm just going to change all of them, and then get back into the video, and we'll just continue from there, where we're just setting up the final sort of bits, doing the final touches here and there wherever we need to do it. So I'll just skip it after I've fixed everything. So remember, also the material functions need to be changed as well. So I've now changed every one of those transform vectors, and also I've realized that I haven't really added any flare amount here, so just need a new multiply node and to copy this particular parameter. We'll set this up to about 3 and then just put it over into the add node. Then we just have to have a look at the parameters, because I think there's something wrong in here. So where we've got large cell brightness, let's just go for a 1.2. Oh yeah, there we go. Right, so we're getting the large cell brightness over in there. At this point, everything in here is pretty much set up. So I've done the local align textures to a transform vector as well. This is our material over here. As you can see, it's not moving in here, but over in this material preview, you can see the distortion is happening. Now, if we start playing around with these sort of settings over in here, what we can do is, for example, go to the overall brightness and put it to a 0.5, which just takes that down, or 0.2. So this helps us to visualize this a bit better. So at this point, you can now start, for example, having a look at the dark flame amount, maybe put that to a 1, and then the contrast, you can increase the contrast of it. But the best thing you can do is actually look at it in 3D space. So I'm just trying to get a bit closer to it, something like that. Now the turbulence is quite high, so if sorry, not that, I'm just trying to push this like that, this way. Let me just do it this way. Right, so if we have a look in here now, we can go to the turbulence and, for example, set it to 1, which then means that it's moving very fast. So this is a 0.1. So all of our sort of settings in here will change, how many macro details we got, how many micro. So everything in here is going to be you're going to need to do a lot of changes to it. Now, if we take a look at the colors, you can change the colors to, so the atmosphere is now orange. You know, I'm changing most of these colors to, I don't know, you know, dark sort of textures, sort of colors, like make it like a sun, but you've got to obviously put in the right values. So, you know, it's very important that you find the right combination. Maybe do, so it's still a bit too bright. Maybe do something like that. We don't, our atmosphere is not exactly, you know, this is, you can see that this is the atmosphere right now. This is the atmosphere edge. So I can increase that, maybe do like a 50. And then this haze, you know, I can, this is what the haze does. Distance luminosity, now I'll just leave that where it is. So we've got some distortions that you can do, something like that, you can see. It's just, you've got to choose, you've got to do the right sort of coloring for this. And it's not something that you can just sort of do instantly. You've got to find the right colors for it. So I'm just trying to, you know, that's like the color, high altitude, low altitude, you know, maybe something like this. So that's an example, you see. Obviously, as I said, the turbulence is here just for, well, just to show how that would change. But this is how the star would look like. And this is really the setup that I've done for this particular star. And I know it's a very hefty tutorial. This is because there's a lot to go through and a lot of things to be done. But this is kind of the final result. Now, I don't know what the hell happened there. I think I messed up the material, guys. Let me just have a look. Yeah, I messed up the material somehow. I just need to have a look inside the material itself. I think it's just a setting that I didn't save. Yeah, I think it's really just from these distortions and so on. I'm just going to play around with the settings a little bit just to get it back to what it was. I don't know why the hell it's done that. But I do hope you guys found this tutorial useful. I know it's been quite long and a lot of things to do in it. This material setup is very complex, and I've had to do a lot of studying on various topics, various approaches to this. I've seen other people do something similar, and I've you know, made some modifications. I've done some improvements, removed some stuff that I didn't need, and also improved performance a great deal on what it was previously. And now I can use this to create some really interesting star systems. As I said, if you want to get this project, you can get it from the a link in the description below from ArtStation or Gumroad. And yeah, it's been a lot of work to put this together. So I do hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. I do hope you found it quite useful. Overall, the errors that you saw previously are just meant that, you know, they can just be fixed with the parameters that have been provided, and everything in there is just changeable. So you can make planets with this as well if you want to. Just make it be static. You know, there's no time if you put the turbulence to 0. But yeah, you can do all sorts of things. So I hope you guys really found this useful, and I hope to see you in the next video, in which I will be exploring some other aspects of space creation. And we'll see where that takes us. I might be doing some black holes or some flares in the next video. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.